Alright everyone, so a few days ago I decided to get up bright and early at 6:30 in the morning, and my original plan was to take my GoPro out and film some fishing, but unfortunately it didn't end up having enough battery on this first trip, so I ended up filming most stuff with my iPhone, but I did catch here in the beginning this deer on my way in the morning. You can see him there. So I headed out to, this is Bull Creek in Austin, Texas, and as you can see, it's like a lot of creeks, it's down in one of these canyons. So the water was pretty low, but there were a few pools. This is pretty typical. You kind of gotta walk up and down and just kind of figure out where the pools are at. Very shallow water, lots of little bait fish and tadpoles everywhere, but not a lot of big fish. The water being so shallow, they tend to be pretty skittish and also very sluggish because it's so warm. So as you can see, walking along here, you gotta kind of go up and down and find where you can get in because there's such a big drop down to the water, especially when it's really low like this. But eventually I found a little spot, and I was able to catch a few sunfish mostly. This is a little red breast here I'm letting go. And so there's that red breast. So, and here's a little bass. So I was using just a split tail that you could see there in the mouth of this green sunfish with a 1/64 ounce jig head. Here's a Rio Grande cichlid. And I got a bunch of these long ear sunfish, which are honestly some of my favorite fish. So then I moved on here later that day to just below Longhorn Dam, which is a really pretty area for how close, because as you can see, that's Pleasant Valley up there, the road going, so that's downtown right there, that's Town Lake on the other side. But a surprisingly wild little area. Here's some deer tracks I found. But again, the water was a little bit shallow, even though it was running pretty fast. But most of what I ended up with was a lot of these really little bass. And I actually landed one warmouth here. So the following day, on Sunday morning, actually, I got up early again and head out to another spot here, and I actually got the GoPro working. So this spot is called Lost Creek, and it's actually a section of Barton Creek, pretty much the furthest end that you can get into. So this is a little swimming spot that is usually full of people. Sometimes there's fish in there, but it's very low. Everything's really low, as I was saying. So you can see here, this whole area is actually usually rapids. The water is all the way up to the trees, usually, but you can see here, it's just there's just nothing left really. So I ended up having to walk around a little bit. Like I said, you kind of gotta walk around. This trail is the green belt, so it's not so up high on the cliff, but if you follow some of the little game trails and other trails people have made, you can find these little pools every once in a while, and that's a good place to look. There were a few pretty big bass in here, but they were just really sluggish, really skittish. This is a little red sunfish, or red breast sunfish, that I picked up, but none of the big ones they would kind of bite it and then spit it out. They were very hesitant. So what I had on here was a 1/200 ounce jig head with the split tail like I had before, and then also there's the split tail and the bluegill's mouth there, and that bass. But I was also using this little gulp minnow. So that's a Rio Grande cichlid. So nothing too actiony, just testing out my cameras mostly. trying to get things to work. But that's some of the little creeks over here. Not a lot of action these days since they're so low and it's so hot out. It's been over 100 for weeks. It's just beginning to go down. Anyway, I'll leave you here with a little bit of footage of walking down the creek, and hopefully I can get some better videos going now that my GoPro is working. Otherwise, like, subscribe, and see you next time.